This is the weekly business news in English on TV3. I am Nugzaru Khaza. Good morning. The first step aimed at getting rid of disbalance between the cities and the regions has already been taken. This is how the economic team of the Georgian government describes the program of assisting micro and small-scale entrepreneurship, which is scheduled to be launched on November the 1st of the current year. However, before the administration begins to issue grants to the entrepreneurs, it will select the companies which have taken account of technical aspects of the program.
A governmental commission has been set up. This commission will select the companies which have expressed interest in the program. In 10 days, we plan to mobilize these companies in the regions. This will be followed with the presentation of specific programs in those regions in order to provide local population with detailed information.
During 5 months, selected contractor companies will train the persons concerned and will turn their ideas into appropriate business plans. Evidently, financing of projects will begin in May and June of 2015. At the Agency of Entrepreneurship Development, they explain that the persons concerned can undertake and develop micro businesses in different spheres.
In the villages, they can set up bakeries, car maintenance centers, dental clinics, and other services that have economic business potential.
Members of the government team believe that the new project will provide the countryside residents with proper motivation.
We have to meet the changes that face us today. We have a great disproportion in the standard of living of present-day residents of Georgian cities and regions. In view of the given reality, our program is destined to tackle the mentioned problem.
The Prime Minister called on mass media to cover and non-governmental organizations to observe the work of the government. The media were also reminded of the assessment of what the administration does to improve economic and social conditions of population. Expert Pata Shashaliza calls this governmental undertaking a dubious project. He thinks that the program is destined for failure.
The program will run at a loss, while several individuals will get profit. Those will be governmental officials who will be getting salaries for implementation of this program. Besides, there will be several non-governmental organizations that will see profit for monitoring the process. And of course, there will be 3,000 to 4,000 persons who will have a loyal attitude to the government as an aftermath of receiving those loans and grants.
Duration of the program of assisting micro and small-scale entrepreneurship is 26 months. Its initial overall budget amounts to 20 million lari. Action is on within the framework of the program, titled Produce It in Georgia. European Bank of Reconstruction and Development will provide consulting services to small and middle-sized enterprises. To this purpose, Georgia and EBRD concluded a memorandum of understanding which was signed by the Minister of Economy of Georgia and the Regional Director of EBRD.
We were very pleased to sign a very important agreement, another important agreement with the government of Georgia. This time is an agreement of support of the program launched by the Ministry of Economy called Produce in Georgia that, as you know, has 4 angles. The first one is to provide premises, the second is to provide interest subsidy, the third one is to enhance security, and the fourth one is to provide to the companies that benefit of the program technical assistance.
According to the memorandum, the Euro Bank will undertake the enhancement of effectiveness and compatibility of small and middle-sized Georgian enterprises and will attract investments to the country. In connection with the 26,000-year jubilee of Georgian Jewish Relations, official delegation of Israel visited Tbilisi. The Georgian Prime Minister met with the members of governmental and parliamentary delegations of Israel. The parties discussed a broad spectrum of bilateral relations. It was mentioned that cooperation between the parliaments and sectoral ministries is increasing. 20 agreements concluded between Israel and Georgia have come into force. During the last 2 years, the two countries have signed a number of important bilateral agreements, such as contracts in the field of culture, agriculture, law enforcement, and visa-free travel. The parties assessed elimination of visa restrictions as an historic event in the development of Georgian-Israeli relations. Within the framework of the 26th-century-old Jubilee of Friendship of Georgian and Jewish nations, the Courtyard Marriott Hotel hosted a Georgian-Israeli Business Forum in Tbilisi. According to the organizers of the event, one of the main issues of the business forum was to provide Israeli and international companies with information on the Georgian business environment and its investment climate. The forum also aimed at promoting the tendencies of attracting the investments in the country. Georgi Kvirikashvili, Minister of Economy, opened the forum. The event was attended by businessmen, representatives of the Israeli Knesset, and David Narmania, Mayor of Tbilisi.
We have discussed the investments in different fields, including hotel industry and tourism. Besides, participants of the forum expressed interest in the processing industry. The most attractive point for them is the simplicity of our administrative procedures.
According to Georgi Kvirikashvili, at this stage 5 projects have been signed. The transaction includes contracts on 2 hotels, 2 middle-sized enterprises, and 1 high-tech enterprise. Over 100 Israeli investors participated in the SAD Economic Forum. For the second time, in connection with the 2600th anniversary of Georgian Jewish Relations, they opened David Bazov's Museum in Tbilisi. The ceremony was attended by the representatives of Israel and current and former prime ministers of Georgia. The former premier, Bidzina Ivanishvili, has financed the rehabilitation of the museum. The event was organized within the framework of the Week of Historical Relations. The guests of the event were addressed by Irakli Garibashvili and Bidzina Ivanishvili. Current Prime Minister thanked Bidzina Ivanishvili and pointed out that the former premier was instrumental in the process of rehabilitation of the museum. In his speech, the former Prime Minister highlighted the centuries-old relations between the two nations. Leaders of 60 Georgian and 15 Kazakh companies took part in the Georgian-Kazakh Business Forum, organized by the Chamber of Trade and Industry of Georgia and the Ministry of Industry and Development of Kazakhstan. The companies which attended the forum were engaged in the fields of construction, pharmacy, machine building, food industry, chemistry, and metallurgy. At the forum, the businessmen discussed the prospects of developing the cooperation between the countries and their investment opportunities. At the same time, representatives of Georgian and Kazakh business circles attended bilateral meetings. By now, between them, Georgia and Kazakhstan have concluded $5 million worth contracts. Beside the Kazakh sides, interest in doing business in Georgia is increasing, and the Kazakh businessmen are ready to be part of this growth rate. Radisson Hotel in Tbilisi hosted the discussions of the problems that exist in the field of gold extraction and its processing. The meeting was convened with the help of Initiative of Infrastructural Projects, the non-governmental organization, and the sponsorship of the Association of Young Financiers and Businessmen. The meeting was attended by the experts of economic sphere and representatives of the company RMG Gold. At the meeting, they discussed the situation at RMG, tendency of cutting down of the volume of its output and its export. They also talked about the factors and circumstances in the given sphere that impede the work of the company. According to the non-governmental organizations, there are a number of problems in the said sphere. They promised to submit their remarks and recommendations to the leadership of RMG Gold Company. National Tourism Administration convened a meeting with tour operators and representatives of winter resort hotels. The administration acquainted the representatives of private sector with the plans and actions directed at tourism development. At the meeting, they also discussed the novelties connected with the opening of the new winter season.
As it is known, artificial snow-making systems are installed in Gudauri and Didveli. At present, scheduled erection works are underway. By December the 1st, the process of mounting the snow-making system will be over, and in both ski resorts, covering of the ski runs with snow will begin.
This year, holiday season is in winter resorts will begin by December the 20th. After the successful tourist summer, Georgian winter resorts are waiting for holiday makers. Meantime, in order to protect its citizens from terrorist attacks and possible incidents of kidnapping, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Germany warns its nationals to avoid traveling to some foreign countries. Unfortunately, Georgia is listed among such unsafe countries as South Sudan, Libya, Cameroon, Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and Yemen. David Zalkalyani, First Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Georgia, attempted to explain the reasons of why the German Foreign Ministry included Georgia in the list of risky countries. Zalkalyani told the journalists that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Germany, like the foreign ministries of other European countries, publishes such information annually. At the Georgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they view this information as unworthy to raise alarm, although the Deputy Minister did not withhold the fact that German press abounded with the news of mugging several German tourists in Svaneti. David Zalkalyani called on law enforcement structures to enhance caution and control over delinquency. Personally, I was totally flabbergasted to have heard the news, because a couple of months ago I had proudly announced on this news program that Georgia was named among the 10 most favorable and secure places in the world for people to come and enjoy. How come the picture has changed so drastically in such a short period of time? Incidentally, the news reached us from a very solid British opinion pollster. Banquet room of the funicular compound hosted the 15th Jubilee ceremony of awarding the companies and businessmen who won the business rating contest, which was organized by media holding Georgian Times and marketing research company Gorby. The aim of the said project is to pinpoint the most successful spheres of national business. Our correspondent Kote Mosidze attended the award ceremony. He will tell us the details of the event that unfolded in the banquet room of the funicular compound.
The main aim of this meeting is to determine the most successful areas in national business, to establish dialogue between business people, government representatives and public to create new era in Georgian business.
The participation of diplomatic corps in this event is very important. It helps to draw the attention of the world business society towards Georgian businesses. Also, this will promote the implementation of important strategic projects in our country.
At the 40th Business Rating traditional ceremony, the most successful businessmen and companies will be awarded in various categories.
The event was attended by members of the legislative, executive and judicial branches of Georgian government, representatives of foreign missions and organizations, businessmen and local and international media. The Bank of Georgia was announced as the best company of our country.
It is a great desire of the current government to render the business environment in Georgia as simple and flexible as possible, including the procedures that a businessman will have to go through for doing business. This is why it is important that we not only award them and give incentive to our successful businessmen, but also to talk to them about what has to be done for helping them in the future, so that they work even better to the benefit of our country.
And now, a few words about politics. Scenario written by the Kremlin for the occupied Abkhazia caused contradictory reaction on the part of the ethnic Abkhaz. The Abkhazian de facto leader met with the representatives of political party Amtsakhara, which currently functions in the occupied region. At the meeting with Amtsakhara activists, Raul Khajimba reiterated that he does not agree with the draft agreement and therefore it will not be approved without amendments. In the words of unrecognized president, de facto parliament and other official bodies are already working on the new version of the document. When it is ready, the Abkhazian de facto leaders will discuss two versions of the agreement with the Kremlin.
Abkhazian side will not sign the current version of the document until all details are meticulously examined. At present, the Abkhazian parliament and other organizations are working on their own version of the document. We can accept the new draft agreement only after it is supported by our entire community.
As Raul Khajimba said at the meeting, the Abkhazian side has organized a special negotiating group for holding talks with Russian authorities. At the headquarters of NATO, they discussed the plan of implementing the NATO-Georgian substantial package. At the 28+1 format meeting, Mikhail Darchiashvili, Deputy Minister of Defense of Georgia, acquainted the allies with the details of the plan. The document was elaborated by the Ministry of Defense of Georgia together with the International Service of NATO. Leadership of NATO approved the plan proposed by the Georgian side. The NATO leadership also expressed the readiness of the alliance to get closely engaged in timely and effective implementation of the substantial package.
The Allies gave high appraisal to our plan of package implementation. They decided that it is an ambitious and concurrently very effective document. They believe that it will push forward the process of implementation of the said document, which envisages strengthening of the country's defense potential and its integration into NATO.
Participants in the meeting pointed out that implementation of the planned elements would step up the process of Georgia's integration into NATO. Today and tomorrow, the capital of Georgia celebrates the fate of Tbilisoba, Day of Tbilisi. In this connection, Georgia is hosting its foreign guests as well. According to the mayor of Tbilisi, there is a mayor of Bristol among the foreign visitors. The British guests will stay in our city for several days. In the words of David Narmania, the mayor of Tbilisi will take part in the events organized within the framework of Tbilisoba. Narmania hopes to have interesting talks with him about various matters. According to David Narmania, Tbilisoba 2014 promises to be special. It will abound with different events. Congratulations, everybody, and enjoy the famous Tbilisoba festivity. That's all this morning. You are watching the weekly business news in English on Channel 3 of the Georgian television. Thank you very much for being with us. I am Nugzar Rukhadze. I will see you again next Saturday morning at exactly 11 a.m. right here on TV3. Until then, have a wonderful week.